Sam Bliss assists fellow community members in providing a daily free food exchange in Burlington, Vermont, inside the United States. The dedication of time and energy needed to organize and develop a gift network based on mutual aid is significant, especially given the friction of operating inside of a market economy. We interviewed Sam on the 499th consecutive day of free food distribution. So I'm just going to come out with some questions for you. How did you first get involved with Food Not Bombs?
I wanted to get involved with Food Not Bombs in Burlington, and then there wasn't a Food Not Bombs in Burlington around 2017, I want to say. There have been several iterations of Food Not Bombs Burlington. It existed in the 90s. There was Food Not Bombs around the time of Occupy, and then again, kind of around 2014, 2015. And so then talked about it with a few friends for a while, and then we just kind of started dumpster diving food, cooking it up here in our kitchen and serving on Sundays in City Hall Park, which is sort of typical for a Food Not Bombs chapter, big pots of soup in the winter sort of thing. And then we would also bring a plastic table and easy up tent and sign some literature to protests, protests around issues of justice, the environment, climate, abolish ICE type stuff, immigrants' rights. And so then it was during the pandemic that BTV Copwatch started doing mutual aid in the Marketplace Garage downtown at 1 p.m. every day for 3 or 4 days. And there was somebody named Alex who was a member of both BTV Copwatch and Food Not Bombs, and started asking me if I'd come, and a couple others from Food Not Bombs started coming and trying to round up food and bring it. And then from there we've just been doing it together, BTV Copwatch and Food Not Bombs, every day, 500 days.
I think that's one of the things that makes this really special, is that it happens every single day. Are there any particular challenges you can see in that being replicated elsewhere, happening every single day?
It takes a lot of work. It just takes a ton of people doing a lot of work. And so we've been lucky to have hundreds of people getting involved, and getting hundreds of people involved has taken a lot of organizing work from a lot of core members, and then to be continually recruiting new members, because people can give time to a project like this, and do that work for several months sometimes, and then they get a job or they move away or life circumstances change in another way such that maybe they don't have time, maybe they end up having to do more of the receiving than the giving from Food Not Bombs. And so it's just about kind of fitting in and finding what's available locally, what are the resources we have, and what's needed. And so it starts with those relationships with among activists, relationships with unhoused people and folks who are in precarious situations.
And so what about the everyday aspect of Food Not Bombs captures your imagination most, or makes you feel most excited about this little slice of what you do every day, your zone?
Well, yeah, I think one of the things that's most exciting about Food Not Bombs Burlington is that we're one of just a few Food Not Bombs chapters around the country that's serving food every day, sharing food every day. And then another thing that's unique about Food Not Bombs Burlington is that we receive, cook, give animal products and meat. And that came about because we were offered them, and because the folks who we share food with request meat. And so it seemed like a really obvious thing to say yes to, even though it sort of went against some of the ethos of Food Not Bombs as a collective or a movement of organizations.
It's typically vegan, right?
Typically vegan or vegetarian,
Mm-hmm.
For lots of reasons. Food safety is one of them, and I think that we serve a lot more meat in the winter because it's easier to store and know that it's safe. And having that hardiness is a bigger help in the winter, I think. But so food safety reasons, animal liberation reasons, I think that. So that's one thing that's a huge difference, and it really goes to show how special the anarchist style of organizing the Food Not Bombs uses is, because I'm not being very eloquent about this. There's no central authority for Food Not Bombs that's going to tell us that we in Food Not Bombs Burlington are doing it wrong, and that's cool.
Do you have anything deeper to speak about the theory behind the program? I think one of the questions I had was, what have been some flashpoints in trying to carry out the post-scarcity idea in a society that depends on scarcity as a control mechanism?
Yeah, so it's really liberating when we can give and receive the things that we need to live and thrive freely without buying and selling them to each other. It builds our relationships, it makes us into a community, it emancipates us from the need to work so much for wages. And it deepens our relationships both with each other and with the organisms that are our food and the ecosystems that they come from. And food is the easy place to start compared to things like housing. In theory, you can imagine a society where housing is freely provided for everyone. There's enough housing, just like there's enough food. But I think the barriers in our particular capitalist society are bigger for housing, for example, or medical care. But food is thrown away everywhere all around us. And so we get tons of food from workers whose employers tell them that they need to throw this food away. And instead of throwing it away, they just bring it here. And I think that's really cool because the environmental effects of our diets are in some cases negative when we do that, because if we're eating food that would have otherwise been thrown away, and you assume we're going to not change the total amount we eat by very much, then we're not demanding brand new food to be grown in fields using fertilizers and water and resources and fuel for shipping. So I think that's really cool from an ecological standpoint, and especially there's all these local farms who will bring excess produce to Food Not Bombs, much like they do to the charitable food system. I think that gleaning is just a really special practice and something to be valued. And so we are, by eating the edible but not sellable abundance that is inherent to a market food system, there is no getting rid of food waste when food is produced for sale and bought and sold. There's always going to be this edible but not sellable chunk, and that needs to be dignified, and we need to all eat it. Instead of this is surplus food for surplus people, we're saying, oh, maybe we should purchase some of our food to support farmers, but we should have a lot of food just be a gift. And I think that's something that we're enacting in a really cool way here. And Food Not Bombs, Food Not Cops takes a ton of work, and the food part, no money, absolutely no money. So then when we get donations, we're able to spend those, monetary donations, we're able to spend those on things like tents and sleeping bags and toiletries and phones and whatever else folks who can't afford a lot of the things that they need tell us that they need. We can't just grow the materials to build a tent in our backyard, though. That's kind of next level, to be able to start making our own shelter and stuff like that from local materials. Food's the easy place to start to sort of enact a gift economy.
Now, over the course of this project, how has this personally transformed you and the people that you've worked with?
Damn, good question. I study non-market foodways in Vermont, so I study hunting, fishing, foraging, gardening, food sharing, mutual aid, the charitable food system. And I've also been getting more and more involved in participating in those things, not just as a researcher, but because I think that these are really important practices and I want to dedicate myself to them. So as this has become an everyday thing in my life, it just makes me feel, it's made me question my role as an academic, for one, because it's wow, I don't really need to study these things. I can just do them. I can learn by doing, and maybe that is a form of studying. There's cool academics out there, but we're a rare breed in the universities. So I think it's changed my perspective on the research that I'm doing. I don't show up as a researcher, I show up as a member of a collective.
Has there been any frustration with the way that Food Not Bombs is informally organized, not really being able to collect this as efficiently resources around town that other charitable organizations or mutual aid groups might do?
I think that's what makes what we're doing so cool in part. We're a demonstration that we don't need the state's resources. We don't need grants from foundations. We don't need to incorporate as a stupid nonprofit. We can just do it because of the gifts that hundreds of people bring to the project. I really think that the more people who get involved in mutual aid, then the more people who are in, like, end up in more economically secure situations to be able to get involved in mutual aid. Squatting is a cool example. Like, I don't know if this goes in the video or not, but just like if we're able to like squat a large building and provide housing to a ton of people for free, you know, or if the state if we're able to like win something from the state and like get a large building put to housing for free, that is able to be run in a way that's like accountable to the folks who are housed in it and, you know, at least partially run by them, then that's beautiful, and that like helps everybody out. And like, I don't know, I just think like we'd have to pay rent, for example, like we wouldn't work so much, and then we'd have time to like take care of each other's needs, and then we could work less because we're taking care of each other's needs for free. So it's like hard for me to imagine a utopian society, like something to like say like on the other side, but it's easy for me to imagine like what are the things we could be working on today, which I think is just like taking care of each other freely, like giving more gifts to our friends instead of Venmoing each other the same $20 back and forth, like that kind of thing, like sharing food with your roommates, your housemates, your family. Yeah, changes in society. We like City of Burlington, give us lockers. Let's start there. Like more places for people to shower, and also like enact some legislation that's like protects people's right to grow food and share food. Like, we shouldn't have to be like dealing with the city complaining about Food Not Cops using supposedly their land, which is public space, to grow food and share food. They should be thanking us for taking care of other members of the community in the city of Burlington. For Food Not Cops, find us every day at Marketplace Garage at 1 p.m. Find us at 32 Hungerford Terrace. You can drop off food here anytime, 24 hours a day, and our donation infrastructure. Food Not Bombs BVT is the Instagram. Food Not Bombs Burlington on Facebook. BTV Cop Watch on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, find me here. Sam Bliss on Twitter.
You heard it here first.
I'm the closest thing that Food Not Bombs has to Twitter.
All right, cut it there.
All schmucks. Yes.
Did you take utensils or what?